Tomorrow morning, an alarm will go off. You'll get up, go somewhere you didn't choose, and give away most of your waking hours to a task someone else picked for you. In exchange, you'll get money, and you'll do it again the next day, and the next, for about 50 years. We call this a job, and it feels like the most natural thing in the world, like it's just what humans do. But here's the strange truth. For almost the entire time our species has existed, nobody had a job, no boss, no wages, no schedule. The whole idea would have been baffling. So what on earth did people do all day before jobs existed? The answer might make your Monday feel very different. Let's go back, not a few hundred years, almost the whole way. Our species is around 300,000 years old. Farming is about 12,000 years old. The 9-to-5 job is barely 200. So if you squeezed all of human history into a single day, jobs show up in the last few seconds before midnight. For everything before that, humans lived as hunter-gatherers. Small bands, usually a few dozen people, moving through the land, taking what they needed as they went. And the first surprise is how little of their time this actually took. In the 1960s, an anthropologist named Marshall Sahlins looked at studies of living hunter-gatherers, like the hoansi of southern Africa, and he found something that shocked people. To get all the food they needed, they worked something like 15 to 20 hours a week. Now, to be fair, that number is debated. If you count all the cooking, the tool repair, the walking, the total climbs higher. But even then, it was nothing like our relentless 40-hour grind, stacked on top of commuting and chores. There was time, a lot of time. And what did they do with it? They rested, they talked, they visited, they told stories, played games, made music, sat around the fire doing beautifully ordinary nothing. Sahlins gave this a name. He called them the original affluent society. Not because they had much, but because they wanted little and got it easily. But the deeper shock isn't how they worked. It's how they lived with each other. There was no boss. Nobody could tell you what to do. There were no wages because there was no money. And there was almost no such thing as private property because you shared, constantly. If you killed an animal, it wasn't yours. It belonged to the whole band. Food moved from hand to hand, all day, every day. This wasn't charity. It was simply how survival worked. You feed people today, they feed you tomorrow. And these groups guarded their equality fiercely. Which brings us to one of the strangest, most human customs ever recorded. Among the hoansi, when a hunter came back to camp with a big fat animal he'd killed, you would expect celebration. Instead, everyone insulted it. They'd shake their heads and say, "This scrawny thing, you made us walk all this way for this bag of bones? What a waste." Even though the meat was excellent, it sounds cruel. It was actually genius. They called it insulting the meat. And the point was to keep the successful hunter humble, to stop him from thinking he was better than everyone else or that the group owed him something, because they understood a danger we've forgotten. The moment one person is allowed to feel superior, to boast, to lord it over others, equality starts to crack. So they used teasing, mockery, and relentless humor to pull anyone who got too big right back down to the ground. No kings, no bosses, no one above you. For most of human history, that was normal. Now, here is where it stops being ancient history and starts being about you, your brain, your body, your instincts. They were all shaped by that world. Hundreds of thousands of years of small groups, shared work, deep rest, and no one giving you orders. That is the environment you were actually built for. The job, the boss, the alarm clock, the trading of your hours for money. All of it is brand new. Evolution has not had time to catch up. In a very real sense, you are a hunter-gatherer, sitting in traffic, answering emails. So, how did we get from there to here? How did the job get invented? The turning point was farming, and it did not arrive as a gift. One historian famously called the agricultural revolution history's biggest fraud. Here's why. When humans started planting crops, they had to stay in one place and work harder than ever, clearing fields, hauling water, guarding the harvest. The workload went up. The diet, now built on one or two crops, often got worse. New diseases spread. But the land could feed more people, so the population grew, and there was no going back. And farming did something else. For the first time, you could store food. You could have a surplus. And once some people controlled that surplus, you got something humans had almost never had before. Rich and poor, owners and workers. The people who controlled the grain could now tell everyone else what to do. Work my field, and I'll let you eat. That right there is the seed of the job. The moment your survival started depending on labor for someone who owned more than you. From there, it was a long road through empires, landlords, and eventually factories, where for the first time huge numbers of people worked by the clock in a building they didn't own, doing one repetitive task for a wage. That factory life, the fixed hours, the boss, the paycheck, the whole shape of the modern job, is only a couple of centuries old. It is one of the newest experiments our species has ever tried. So the next time that alarm goes off and something in you quietly resists, try to remember what that feeling really is. It's not laziness. It's not a flaw in you. It might be 300,000 years of instinct, gently pointing out that spending your whole life working for someone else, by the clock, was never the plan. This doesn't mean you can walk out and go hunt gazelle. We live in the world farming built, and there's no simple way back. But it can change how you see the weight you carry. You were told this is just what it means to be human. It isn't. The job is a costume history dressed us in. Only moments ago, underneath it, you are still the original thing. Built not for endless work, but for enough of it. And then, time to actually live. If this changed the way you see something you do every single day, I have more like it. Subscribe, and I'll keep pulling the ordinary apart to show you what's hiding inside it.